Hi all, I've got a computer here I want to show you. I just bought it used off the internet. It's a Dell Optiplex 790. I got it cheap. I got it for about 200 bucks. It's a Core i7. It's a second generation. Goes back about 5 years. It's about 5 years old. Okay, so you see it's standing up here, but the DVD is kind of awkward here. It's you can see there's feet down here on the side too. So I'd say in general it's meant to be set down like this. You know, that's called a desktop. You can see that there's also feet here, so if you want to, you can stand it up. If you stand it up, it's called a tower. Same thing here, it's called a desktop. It just depends, you know, how often do we actually use DVDs these days. It's kind of rare. If you need to install something off a DVD, it still comes in handy, but lots of USB plugs on the front. They're all black, right? If they were blue, they would be USB 3 plugs. So it's got the older USB 2 plugs, microphone plug on the front, headphone plug on the front. Let's see what's on the back here. Old-fashioned keyboard plug, old-fashioned mouse plug. All new mice and keyboard, they're all USB plugs. So there's plenty of USB plugs here on the back. That's where you plug in your internet. That's where you plug in your monitor. That's the old-fashioned monitor. This would be the new digital monitor plug, a DVI plug. This is like if you want to hook up a router or something like that to it. Here's the power supply. A light that shows you the power supply is working. Okay, so how's this one open, right? Let's see here. This one's easy. There's no screws. You know, I guess you could put a lock on it here. See here, you could actually put a padlock on it here. Then people can't just open the box. That would be for like if you're at a business or a school. You know, you don't want people to be able to just pop it open and mess around with it. You could put a chain on it, chain it to a table. Okay. So I just thought I'd show it to you. I'd show you the guts in case you've never seen the inside of a computer. In general, there's only like 5, 6, 7 parts. It's just like if you were working on a car, you know, if your alternator goes bad, you just put a new alternator in. You don't take apart the alternator, try to fix it, you know. Most people don't. You just would throw in a whole new alternator. Same thing here. Power supply goes bad, you just put in a new power supply. Hard drive goes bad, put in a new hard drive. DVD goes bad, you put in a new DVD. Fan goes bad, you put on a new fan. Motherboard goes bad, motherboard's that big green thing there at the bottom. If that goes bad, you just put in a new motherboard. This here is your RAM sticks. You can see here I have 4 in this computer. There's the watch battery there. That watch battery just holds a little data, startup data. When you turn off the computer, it's just a piece of metal. You know, when you turn it on, how does it remember date, time, stuff like that? Well, that watch battery holds a little information on one of those chips. That when you turn the computer on, that watch battery starts the computer, runs that basic data to get the computer going, and then Windows takes over. That information on that watch battery, it's the BIOS, and some people call it CMOS. Those two words are kind of used interchangeable, but there is a difference. You know. That's more of a techie thing. It's the BIOS. These days, all the information in the BIOS is all automatic. You know, you turn on the computer and the machine sets up all the data. The old days, you used to have to write it down and type it in, but these days you don't have to bother. Here's another fan here. Sometimes if the speaker isn't working on your computer, like here's the speaker. Yeah, see that would be the speaker. Sometimes these cables just aren't plugged in. Just have to track them down and make sure they're plugged into the motherboard. I only have 3 slots to expand it here. 1, 2, 3. If I wanted to add more cards, you can see here they've got a fancy video card installed here. See, these items here, these are built into the motherboard. See? And then here, for some reason, they added a digital video card here. What happens a lot is your regular video card, the one that's built into the motherboard, will go bad. So you know, you don't have to replace the whole motherboard just because that plug goes bad. You install a video card. You can get video cards at Walmart, 15, 20 bucks, you know, cheap ones, and on up you can pay $100 easy for a fancy video card, on up $300-400 bucks or even more. So people who are in the games like to put in real fancy video cards because the games run faster. The reason why is this RAM. When you turn on the computer, Windows is stored on here. Microsoft Windows or whatever operating system that you're using, stored on here. You start up the computer, BIOS starts up, the machine takes over, Windows takes over, starts running the machine. Windows, Microsoft Windows 7 or Windows 8 or Windows 10 is loaded in the RAM. A copy is taken off the hard drive, put in the RAM. Everything you see on your screen is running in RAM. Okay, this hard drive here is your C colon. They put in bigger video cards because it has built-in RAM. It's got RAM built in right on video card. So the games run on the card. It runs faster. It doesn't have to go out to the CPU, and it runs. Not all of it, but lots of it runs right on the video card. Now this here is the CPU is down below here, and then this whole thing is just a cooler that just keeps the CPU cool. I was told that I couldn't put in a bigger video card in here because it's so small, but I have seen slimline ones, or they call low profile cards, so I think one might fit in there. But the power supply here I don't think could handle it. It's only 250 watt power supply. So the fancy video cards, I think they use a lot of power. Right offhand I don't know, but I think they probably use all that power supply. So what they do though is put the smallest power supply possible just to run the computer as is. Like I don't have the numbers memorized, but let's say this hard drive takes 50 watts. It probably says on here. What it takes. But just like in general, 50 watts here, 50 watts here, 50 watts to run the RAM, 50 watts to run the CPU, 50 watts to run this, that eats up to 250 watts here. So if I wanted to do a bunch of fancy stuff in here, that power supply might not handle it. So I might be able to push it a little bit, but like if I wanted to add one or two things, there's room. Like here's the sound card here. Well, if I wanted to put in a better sound card, stereo, a 5.1 sound card, that could probably handle it. The way I heard it described once is the sound card built in to the motherboard is like having a regular radio. Putting a better sound card in would be like going out and buying a fancy stereo. It would just sound better. So here's a HDMI plug. So I could plug that into my television, and what's on the computer I could display it on the television screen. In the old days, they used to screw all this stuff down. There'd be like 4 screws here, 4 screws here. But you see these blue parts. This would make it real easy to get these things in and out. So exactly how these work, I'm not sure. Sometimes it's real tricky to get these things in and out of the computer. So there's that one. See if I can figure out how to get it back in here now. And it would be the same thing here. Let's see what they're doing here. This probably slides in here. See that one slides forward. This just holds it in place. See that snapped into place there. See? Instead of trying to slide that back, if I wanted to put a new one in, I'd have to take all this out. So they have a slide forward. I could slide this one out and pop and slide a new one in, just plug the 2 things in the back. And I don't have to bother with screws because it just pops into place here. Bigger boxes, you could actually run 2 hard drives. You just have more storage. One hard drive would have your operating system, and the second one would have all your files. So if one hard drive goes bad, then you still have the other one. You don't lose all of your stuff. But I don't think there's room in here for a second one. No, I don't see any space. But I could just get a bigger one here. This one's only 500 gig, which should be plenty for this machine. That's a lot. Okay, and then these things just slide into these slots here, and that goes down